Hello, I'm EG, and this is Crocheting with EG. And in this video, I made another cane cover. I'm just obsessively making these cane covers, but this one turned out really nice. I use that bitty stripes, and I'll show that. And then I got some yarn. I got some yarn from Ollie's. They finally opened up that box, but they didn't have it on the shelf. But I did get some out of the box, and so I got some of that, and some big twists too. So that was a surprise that they had that. And then I got some yarn, and I've talked about this store in a previous video where you go in and there's all these bins everywhere, or they're on tables and stuff, but they're all like these deep bins, and it's like they get pallets of stuff in, like overstock or things that didn't sell at different stores, and then they just kind of dump it all in there. And they have like a $3 day and a $4 day and $1 day and all these different days, and so you just kind of go in there and just dig through it and find stuff, and I've actually found some yarn and all that mess, but whatever. So I'll show that, and then some of the other things. This is going to be one of my variegated videos. So there is some yarn and crochet related stuff, but there's also just like some completely random tangents and stuff. But you know how my videos are if you're watching at this point. But anyway, so I'll start with the make. And so this is the cane cover, and this turned out so nice. It's the bitty stripes, and I used, instead of using my EG stitch, I used the double crochet to match the the snake basket or whatever to hold all my cane covers in. And so I used that same stitch, and so it turned out so nice. But the only thing was I ran out of the bitty stripes yarn, and so I had two skeins. And if you watch my previous videos, like one of my first big yarn hauls on YouTube was a big yarn inspirations order, and I bought like one of each of the bitty stripes that I thought were really pretty, and the crayon box, which is what I use, is one of the colorways that I had gotten. And so I had one skein of that, and then when I went to Walmart, they finally got the bitty stripes. This is months ago. I'm just recapping, wasting time on camera talking about previous videos. So I went to Walmart, and I was actually shocked that they had the bitty stripes in the store. And so I wanted to get another one of those crayon boxes because I thought it was like the prettiest one. And so when I got it home, I was shocked that the one that I bought in Walmart was a lot prettier than them, because I love the one that I had gotten in the Yarn Inspirations order. But then when I saw that one in Walmart compared to the one that I got from like directly from Yarn Inspirations, I'm just like leaning off to the side. No, I'm like trying to get this into the frame. But I was shocked that the one from Walmart looked so much better than the one like directly from Red Heart, Yarn Inspirations. And so so the skein that I used to make the cane cover snake basket or whatever, and then most of this is the really pretty skein. And then I ran out of the yarn, and so I had to use the other one. And so I mean, the cane cover looks really nice. I used that double crochet to match the snake basket, and so like from here down, it looks really, really nice, and the colors are really vibrant. It just looks so nice. But then the second you get to right here, I mean, yeah, the colors are pretty, but like at the same time, compared to the top, where like this is where I ran out of yarn and had to use the next skein. Like compared to up here, this just looks kind of dull in comparison. I mean, it's still pretty, but still, I just still can't get over the fact that I mean, I know dye lots are different or whatever, but I still can't get over the fact that the one that I got from Walmart looks better than the one that I got directly from the Yarn Inspirations. And so I don't know, I mean, it is really nice and everything, and I'm glad I made this cane cover. And like this part down here is just like the part near the floor or whatever, but still I hate that like the top looks so good, and then down here just doesn't look the same. But from far away it doesn't really matter, but to me it does, because I really love the one I got from Walmart, and I'm just not. It just looks like the one from Walmart that has like the vibrant colors that are even more vibrant, and then the white is more noticeable. Like here, it just looks like the color sort of bled onto the white, and so it doesn't really look as stonewash or whatever. It doesn't look that same kind of way here. It just looks like the color is a little bit more dull, like it might have bled onto the white part that is supposed to be like this. And so I don't know. I mean, in this crappy camera you can barely tell the difference, but I can tell especially in person. But anyway, but I did make another cane cover. I do love this, and I use the triple up method. So this is a lot thicker than the ones that I made with my EG stitch. See, these are just a little bit more thinner, and it's also a little easier to put on the cane since it's like tripled up. And so like pull it off. and I'll show you. But it really does look like a snake when I pull this one off, because of how it's a lot more stiff because of it being tripled up. And so when I pull it off, it's a lot easier to pull off too. But so when I pull it off, see how it's more stiff, and it actually does look more like a snake, but whatever. So that's what the cane cover looks like. So I did make that. Like I said, I went to Ollie's, and they had some yarn. They didn't have any yarn the first day I went this week. All the yarn was still in the boxes or whatever, and wasn't open and priced and all that kind of stuff. So, but I did look around the store, and I found something with yarn on it. And like I've said in previous videos, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. If there's a picture of yarn on anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Like that heart-shaped box of chocolates, in the Valentine's stuff at Dollar General. Even though I don't like that candy, I went ahead and got that just because the picture on it was a cat with, you could see like a little bit of yarn on the edge of it. Like anything with yarn, or a calendar picture, anything, I'll end up getting it just because of how obsessed I am with all this yarn and crochet and stuff. And so I was looking through Ollie's, and they have a section of greeting cards. And so like it's nobody's birthday or anything. I just bought this birthday card because it has a picture of a cat with yarn on it. And so it says, happy birthday, sleep all day, and then party all night, enjoy your birthday. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to hang it up in this room, and a thing that we do, and I don't think a lot of people do this, because anytime I see like a Christmas movie, I'm always looking in the background to see if anybody does what my family always did. And there have been a couple times where I've seen it like in a TV show or a movie or whatever, but what we always do with our greeting cards or whatever is we kind of like hang them at an angle, like on the edges, like around a doorway, especially around Christmas when we get Christmas cards and stuff. We just always used to do that, and so I thought it would be kind of cool to like hang this up in here, like at an angle, like on one of the doorways, like we hang up our Christmas cards and stuff. But it has a picture of a cat like leaning on a big yarn ball, and that's the only reason I got it. I don't even know how much this was. It says $2.80, but I'm sure that wasn't like the price in there. But I got that. That was like the first day, my first trip into Ollie's this week. And then I finally went into Ollie's again, and they had the yarn, but it wasn't on the shelf or that little freestanding shelf or like in that back corner or whatever. It was on it was like the carpets that were, or like the throw rug kind of carpets. It wasn't like the big rolls of carpet like on the other side of the store. It's like those big area rugs. That's what they are. And so they're all stacked up there, and if you've ever been into Ollie's, they have those area rugs kind of stacked up there, and they had a bunch of boxes on there, and they were already open, and they were ready to go, like put wherever in the store, but they weren't put on the shelves in the store yet. And so I noticed that a couple of those boxes had yarn showing. They were opened up, and you could see that it was yarn. And what was weird is I was expecting it to be the Red Art Super Easy, the stripes, that raspberry blush or whatever. But what it was Big Twist. Like I didn't expect Big Twist to be in there, because like I had seen videos on YouTube of like people's Ollies and the yarn that they were getting. Like I've seen some videos where they got in some of that pink, what is it called? Juicy Couture yarn that people use for scrunchies and all that kind of stuff. I've seen people get that in their stores, but I've never seen anybody get the Big Twist yet. And so it's weird that, actual Big Twist ended up there. And they weren't ones that ended up at Michael's or whatever. These are like, probably directly from Joann. And so I got, they only had 2 colorways in my store. And so I went ahead and got one of each of these, because, this does still exist, but it is a good deal. But it's the Big Twist Value, and this is the color green gecko, so it's like this lime green. I only got one of these because I already have like so much of this like lime green color. But this was only $2.99. So the regular price, it says $4.49. So it was their price was $2.99 at Skein. So I thought that was a really good deal, because I know how much this Big Twist is because I've seen it in my Michael's store. But so $2.99 was good, so I went ahead and got one of those, and then I got this blue. It's a Big Twist Value in the color cyan. So it's like this cyan blue color, and it's really nice and soft, and again, this is only $2.99. So they had these two, and then this raspberry blush. And the story was, so I saw that the boxes open there, and so I was like, wondering, can I like take the yarn out of the boxes? Because it's not like throughout the store everything is always taken out of the boxes and put on the shelves. There are areas where like they got the Big Twist kind of stuff, like the stickers and all that, where they just took those boxes and they just stuck the open boxes on a shelf, and so they're still in those boxes. And so I thought, like, could I take this yarn out of this box? It already had the prices on it and everything, and I thought, it is sort of an open box and everything, and it's probably going to go on a shelf, but I just felt like, I've seen boxes like this throughout the store, and so that's the way they display it in the store. And so I thought, can I take this yarn? But I thought, like, I'm not going to take the yarn because I didn't want to get in trouble. But it was priced, so I thought, like, yeah, I can at least, find somebody and ask them about it. And so there was this one, this worker that was walking through there, and I said, do you have any idea when that that yarn is going to be put on the shelves. And she looked at me and she goes, I haven't a clue. And so I thought, like, that was weird. I thought, okay. And so it was just kind of like threw me because it's so weird. And so then I just started to walk away, and I was like, sort of mumbling like, oh, okay, thank you. But she was walking towards the yarn, and then before I walked away, she said, well, since I'm standing over here, if you want to take some of this yarn out of the boxes, you can, because it's already priced. And so I thought, oh, okay, good. So I went over there, and then I got the one blue and the one green, and then luckily this raspberry blush or whatever was in there, and the Aran or whatever wasn't open yet and priced, but I probably won't get any of that. It's just like a cream color. It's just kind of like a generic color, but like I did want to get these really vibrant colors. I don't know if they have any other ones, but this is the Red Heart Super Easy Stripes and the color Raspberry Blush. It's a really pretty mix of kind of like a raspberry color, and then this is a more vibrant color, kind of an orangey kind of pink color, and just a really nice stripe. So I got 2 of those. So these were $4.99 a piece, and then these were $2.99 a piece. And then as I was buying this yarn, I thought, God, I know I have a 10% off coupon at home, but it doesn't matter. It only got like 4 skeins or whatever, but I'm glad that they finally opened the boxes. And I know that there could be other yarn, or I know that there is other yarn because that Aran is still over there, and it's boxed up. But I'm hoping, because there's a whole bunch of boxes over there, maybe they'll have some other ones. But I did get all of these. And I was really glad that woman let me take it out of the boxes, because I was really tempted to just like, look, make sure that nobody was around and actually take it out of the boxes. I wouldn't have done that, but in my head, it was very tempting. I probably would have. I wouldn't have, but in my head I would have. But so that was the yarn I got from Ollie's. When I went to Michael's, and I didn't get any yarn, but I did notice that they were moving some yarn around. And so I went 2 separate days, and I took some pictures, I think. I don't know if I took pictures both days or not, or if they even turned out on my ridiculous phone, but whatever. Or no, my ridiculous ass with my perfectly fine phone. But whatever. So I was looking through there, and like I said, my store has like the one aisle where there's yarn on both sides, and then there's another like half aisle. And I noticed that like one of the aisles, they cleared all the yarn off of it, and so I was hoping that they were gonna like move that and then put new yarn on the shelves and stuff and kind of reorganize. And then the next time I went in there, all they did was they took the yarn that was on this end and put it on this end, and then put the yarn that was on this end on that end. And so it was just kind of like pointless or whatever. It's the same exact yarn. They just kind of flipped it, and so that was weird. And then they did the same thing on the other aisle, and then they did the same thing. They just kind of flipped it. And so I don't know. Maybe the store. I'm like trying to make excuses. The jingling is this cup and bowl thing that I have sitting here. I'm going to show. It's a tangent. But what I imagine is like Michael's has a certain way that they want the yarn in every store, and they have to like, it's because they put all the blanket yarn on the ends, and like on the end of the aisle where you could see it first, and I'm sure that's because people make all this amigurumi and stuff, but maybe that's why they moved it or whatever. But they took the yarn and they just like flipped it. But I did get excited seeing all that, like when they took the yarn off the shelves, they had it in all these carts and stuff, and I was like looking through those carts. I mean, not like digging through, but like I was like walking through, like looking at them, thinking, is there any new yarn in all these carts? But all it was the yarn that was on the shelf being taken off so that they could flip it or whatever. So, and then I've already posted this in my community tab. Of course, by the time this video comes out, it was like a month or 2 ago, whatever it was. But I noticed that all the Skyscape was clearanced, and I meed it is like an odd yarn, but it is really soft and really pretty colors and stuff. But it was all the yarn that they had on an end cap in my store, but they have it all clearanced out in one of those cardboard box things, and they priced them at $5 a piece, and so they have them on clearance for $5 a piece. And so I didn't get any of them, but because I do have a couple of those skeins, but I didn't get any of those. And what they put there instead on that end cap is this kind of like wavy cotton yarn. I mean, it's soft. It feels a little odd just because it's not acrylic yarn. It just feels a little just weird, but I mean, it's really pretty. It's kind of like this wavy, kind of twisty looking cotton yarn. If I took pictures, I'll put it in the video. But so they have that. That was like a new thing. And then on the end where they used to have all that Heartland, that Lion brand Heartland yarn that I bought a whole bunch of. Like where they had that Heartland, they put the Lion brand hometown yarn, so that's new to my store. So that was like an interesting thing, but I didn't get any of that. Although I have gotten a couple skeins of that in like Goodwill hauls and stuff. It does seem to be really nice yarn. So that was a nice new thing. But I'm still looking for that impressions and like some of their like loops and threads, you know, variegated colorways and all that kind of stuff. They only have that one whatever colorway it is, the one that I've bought plenty of up there. But there are still a lot of like their brand variegated yarns that have never ended up in my store, and so I don't know, but I'm going to be on the lookout for that. But at least it got some new yarn in. But for the most part, they just kind of like moved the yarn that they already had in there around. When they did lift that boil water advisory thing, if you care about that, a total change it. But the only reason I'm mentioning that is because I have a feeling that it wasn't a joke. That the reason why I ended up getting that clearance yarn, a couple days ago, is because everybody was out looking for water in our area and stuff. And so, but they finally lifted the boil water advisory thing. I mean, the water came back on, and but we could use the water, but we could use the yarn. We could use the water, but we couldn't drink it, right out of the tap or anything like that, until they tested the water and all that kind of stuff. And then they eventually did, and it was fine. And then we just had to like flush out the pipes and stuff and all that. But everything's fine. But I have a feeling that that's why I got that yarn, just because of people out searching for water. I guess I'll show that stuff I got at that bin store. I put it in a Hobby Lobby bag. They don't have bags in that place. You have to bring your own. I didn't bring my own Hobby Lobby bag. I brought like my reusable bag, but I put it in this Hobby Lobby bag. They have so many of them. But whatever. So it was their $3 day, and so they had like this pack of there's 2 of them, and it's like this chenille yarn, and like the labels on these, they just remind me of the ones that like that come from Amazon, that resellers send to Amazon, and then Amazon is the one that delivers them. And so I just have a feeling that some of this stuff is either like returns or what, I don't know. They seem like brand new stuff. I mean, a lot of the stuff is brand new stuff, but a lot of them have those kind of stickers on them. I mean, unless a lot of retailers use those kind of stickers. I don't know. It may be like the same system. I have no idea, but a lot of it just seems like some that might have come from Amazon. But like digging through all that stuff, they had 2 packs of these, and so each pack has 2 skeins of this yarn. It's really nice chenille yarn, and really gorgeous kind of gold color. And it says NICEEC. I don't know how you pronounce that. Chenille yarn, really gorgeous colorways, and like a lot of yarn for $3. And because like this was like $1.50, and so I would have bought that in Hobby Lobby on clearance. But it's just a really nice soft chenille yarn and really gorgeous gold color. And so there was this pack, so that was 2 of those, and so that was $3. And then another pack. I was digging through there and found another pack, and because there are sometimes when you're digging through, you only find 1 of something, but then there are times where you're digging through and there's like 18 of something, and it's good because like, even though there's signs everywhere in that store, don't open any boxes. Without fail, if you find a box and you don't know what's in it, because sometimes you only see like the little labels like this, and you don't know what's in the box, you can find another one in there somewhere that somebody else has already opened, because nobody reads those signs or whatever that says, oh, don't open the boxes. Inevitably, if there's duplicates in there, somebody has already opened one of the boxes, and you can see what's in it. But I was digging through there, and so they had 2 of these, so I got those 2. And then they had this thing, I don't know what this is, but it says learn to loop crochet. It's like a kit. It's a weird like crochet hook kind of thing. I don't know. It was just like a novelty thing. I don't know if I'm actually going to use this or not. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting thing. And maybe it'll be fun to crochet with this thing, or maybe it'd be a pain in the ass, and that's the reason why it ended up there and why nobody wanted it. But it's just like the end of like one of those like tapestry needles, or the needles that you use to weave in your ends. I mean, I bet if I pulled this out of the handle, it would just be one of those needles. I mean, that's literally what it looks like. So I don't know. I'm going to have to look into this. But it says learn to loop crochet. Is that anything? Is that a thing that is it some kind of like easy way to crochet, or what? Or is this like a total waste of money? I have no idea. Did I waste the money for 2 skeins of clearance yarn from Hobby Lobby on this thing? I don't know, but it was like an interesting thing. I went ahead and got it because I thought, something crochet related in there. And the more crochet related things I was coming across, I was thinking, hopefully there's going to be some more stuff. I found like this, these 2 packs of the skeins of yarn, and then this, and I was thinking, is there anything else crochet related in here? But there wasn't anything. But they did have this pack of safety eyes. They had another pack, and I think they were just like solid white. But these are like really pretty safety eyes. And of course, I'm not into amigurumi, but I'm just thinking, you know, if my niece finally gets into it, then she's probably gonna love having these safety eyes to make her, you know, amigurumi things or whatever. And so this was $3, brand new. It has you know, the little things you stick on the back of them, and all the different colored eyes, and really nice deal for $3 in there for that. And then they did have this roll of stickers, you know, with these like pride flags, you know, the progress version of the pride flag. And so I thought that was like a completely random thing in there, just this pack of stickers. I don't know how many stickers are in it, but 300 rainbow pride stickers. And so that was like a cool thing in there. I didn't expect to find that in there, but so that was all the stuff I got in that place. But I just couldn't believe that yarn. And hopefully, if I go in there again sometime, you know, they may have some other yarn, because like I've never come across yarn or anything crochet related in there before. And so that was like a really big surprise, because we just thought we'd pop in there just to see if they had anything kind of interesting, because we found some interesting stuff in that bin store. But I never expected to find yarn or crochet. Like, leave it to me to like dig through like a whole bunch of or it's not crap. It's not that either. But leave it to me to go into a store like that, where you have to like dig and dig and dig through a whole bunch of stuff and like be the one to find yarn. Of course I did. But whatever. So I got that at that bin store. And what was really cool is I don't know why the woman did this, but the woman running the register, it was a $3 day, and so everything was supposed to be $3. But she ended up charging us $2 a piece for it, because like when I got out to the car, my mom was with me, and when I got out to the car, I was counting it up in my head. I was thinking, this doesn't seem right. It seemed like it was too cheap. I was counting it up in my head, and I thought, she only charged us $2 a piece for that stuff. And I don't know why she did it. My mom was talking to her, and they were kind of friendly or whatever, and that woman was like extra friendly with my mom, like as if she knew my mom from somewhere around town. My mom didn't recognize her or anything, because you know, she works with the public or whatever. She does work around a lot of people and sees a lot of people. So maybe that woman knew my mom, or maybe she was just being extra nice, or she hit her wrong button, or I don't know what. But she only charged us $2 a piece for that stuff. So it was an even bigger deal. Like, it would have been a good deal for $3 a piece, but you know, all that stuff for $2 a piece is a really good deal. So those skeins of yarn were technically $1 a piece instead of being $1.50 a piece. But it was just a really good deal. And I did go into Hobby Lobby, and they didn't have any yarn. But I was looking through their puzzles, and I'm just like obsessively making puzzles now, I guess. But I'm looking for ones that have something to do with yarn or crochet or whatever. Usually with kitties on it, but whatever. And so I was looking through their puzzles, and they had a puzzle, and it was like a craft room. It was kind of cool. It was like one of those kind of lenticular, like 3D sort of puzzles. So it was kind of cool. But it was like a craft room, and which was interesting. I'm glad that they had something like that. And there was some yarn in it. But for the most part, it was like a bunch of fabric and like a sewing machine, and I took a picture of it and everything. So it was cool, and I'm glad that they had some yarn in that I've said that they need more stuff like that in their store, and so that they do have a puzzle that is like a craft room, but it just didn't have enough yarn in it for me to buy it to put up in here, because you know, I'm gonna have limited wall space in here. It's either going to be covered with puzzles or even more yarn that I need to put away. And so I didn't want to buy like that puzzle, because there wasn't a whole lot of yarn in it. But at least there's something that one of the things that I felt like, you know, that store should have a lot more of is a puzzle like that, or you know, other things like that, pictures like that have something to do with, you know, crafts and yarn and sewing and like all the kind of stuff that people go into Hobby Lobby and expect to, you know, buy and come across. But it was just interesting to see that. So they did have that. And then over there where they had the like sort of off where the beads and all the necklace charms and all that kind of stuff are, they have this section where they have like bag straps, like or like purse straps or whatever. And they had one that looked like granny squares, like the strap that you can put on your bag or your crossbody bag or your purse or whatever. And so I took a picture of that. I didn't buy it or anything, but I thought it was kind of interesting too. To have it's like a strap for a purse or something, or some kind of bag, but it looked like granny squares. And then while I was in there, they had their Valentine's stuff. They had it used to be 66% off, and then I went in there and it was 90% off. And so I thought, oh, I'm gonna get some more of this Valentine's stuff. And so I got a whole bunch, like this whole or there's like 2 bags. All this Valentine's stuff was only $10, and so it was a really good deal on all this stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff. I mean, there's so much that I'm going to use it to decorate my Lucy stuff. That's the reason I get all this, you know, heart-shaped stuff. Is to decorate my Lucy stuff. But I'm sure I don't need all of this stuff. I'm going to have enough to put hearts all over my Lucy collection. But there's just so much nice stuff, and so. Sorry about the bag noise. I hope it's not going to, you know, drown out my voice. But there's this stuff, and it's Valentine garland, and it's this really pretty holographic kind of shiny plastic, but they're shaped like hearts, and so it's like garland that is shaped like hearts that are all connected, and so these are 9 feet of this stuff. So I got I got all of the ones that they had of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these garlands, and so look how beautiful this stuff is. I mean, it really is pretty. It's gonna make my Lucy stuff look so nice. And so I got those. So those were only $3.50 for all of this. And then I went ahead and got 2 more of those, the curtain backdrop things. I got that when it was 66% off. I got one of those, and so I got 2 more of those. And these were regular $4.49, and so 90% off of that, whatever that is. And so I got 2 of those, and then they did have some Valentines. 32 tattoo puppy and kitty Valentines. Can you imagine why I got this? The only reason I got this is because one of the Valentines has a picture of a kitty with a yarn ball on it. Like I said, I'm a sucker for this stuff. If I see anything with yarn on it, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's Valentine's or what, I'm going to end up getting it. And so I'm going to hang up this picture in my room somewhere. I'll probably, like, you know, trim off the words or whatever and have a picture of the kitty and the yarn ball hanging up in here somewhere. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And there's a whole bunch. All of them are just, like, you know, random pictures of kitties and puppies and stuff. And then there are some tattoos in here. They're just, like, you know, kitty and puppy heads or whatever. I'll give all the rest of that stuff to my niece if she wants this. But I'm going to keep all these for myself. I might give her a couple of these so she could take it home and put it with like her crochet stuff. But I'm definitely going to hang up a couple of them in here. And so these were regular $5.49, so whatever 90% off of that was. And then I got 3 more packs of these glitter hearts. These were regular $2.49, so 90% off of that. A really good deal on that. And so I got 3 packs of those. It's a pack of 12. So I don't even know if I have enough wall space to decorate my Lucy stuff with all these hearts, but I do have plenty of it. And then I got these, which are really pretty, like these vase filler kind of things, these styrofoam hearts. And they're all different sizes, and they're glittery, and scatters and fillers, or whatever. So like glitter hearts. And so these were regular $4.49. So I'm 90% off of that. And then these are just these pretty shiny hearts, like these metal hearts, scatters and fillers or whatever. And so these were regular $6.99. So this was 70 cents. I never would have spent $7 on this. But they are really pretty. They're kind of these matte finished. Oh no, there's a couple shiny ones in there too. Unless they're like one side. And there's a couple that are matte finished and then a couple that are shiny. So that's these metal hearts. I'm assuming they're metal. I don't know. But I got those. And then these were broken, but I thought this would be the perfect thing to use to make it a Lucy ornament sometime. I've gotten one of these before, and so it's like this heart, like one of these bejeweled looking, you know, faceted heart looking things. It's like an ornament. And this is a regular $5.99, so I got it for 60 cents. But they were broken, and they're broken in half. Yeah, they're broken, but what I thought I could do with these is like that Heidi ornament on my Christmas tree that I made my mom for Christmas. I made it in sort of a diorama style where it has a ball on it. It's supposed to kind of mimic the snow globe in Heidi, you know, the Shirley Temple version. And then I used pictures from the movie and kind of made it in this diorama style to make it look kind of 3D. But I thought I could do that same kind of thing with like for my Lucy tree with these hearts. And so like use them as like the background, like build a Lucy ornament in here in sort of a diorama style. And then I do have some sheets of clear plastic, and then hot glue a piece of clear plastic on the side right here to close it in. And so it can be like this really pretty like 3D looking I Love Lucy ornament, and then it could be like inside of a heart. And so like one side is red but it's clear, and then the other side is red on the back, but then on the inside it's silver. But I thought it would be the perfect thing to like build a Lucy diorama style ornament in. I got both of them, even though they're both broken open, but it's like I got 4 ornaments because I got 4 backgrounds and I'm going to build ornaments in. So that was a really good deal on that. You know, only 60 cents a piece on those. So all of that heart stuff and Valentine stuff from my Lucy collection, and $10 for all that is such a good deal. And then the rest of the stuff here at the end has nothing to do with crochet. I just like random stuff. But I went to Salvation Army, and they had this little snow globe, and it's a Harry Potter snow globe. It has a Ron in it. This is so cool. It looks like one of those pop figures, Funko or whatever. This is only $2.99. I think it's Funko Pop related. Yeah, it does say Funko on it, so that's why it looks like one of those little Funko Pops. But not only is Ron in this little snow globe, but like the base of it, it's made out of plastic, but it has Hogwarts on it, and Hagrid's hut, and Quidditch, and just all kinds of, I mean, it's really cool little snow globe, and for only $3 at Salvation Army. And they also had a couple albums. I'm not gonna show the pictures, but they had a couple albums of they had some pictures in them, and like I said, it's weird. Like I cherish our memories so much just because we've lost so many people in our life, and I love all of our pictures and our home movies, and I've tried to say in some of these videos that it's really important to preserve your family's memories and pictures and home movies and all that kind of stuff, and digitize them and all that. Like most people think, oh, these are just home movies, us, filming us around our house when we were growing up. Like, it's just like, home movies. But like, the second you lose one person in your life, that stuff becomes so much more valuable. So we value our memories, the pictures and home movies that we have so much. So like every time I'm in a thrift store and I come across anything with pictures or videos or anything like that that are other people's memories, I'm buying that stuff too. Like with the intention of like finding the people that would appreciate this stuff and try to get it to them. Because I can't imagine that this stuff was intentionally given to a thrift store. I mean, I've said in a video that I came across a VHS tape that was somebody's wedding, and of course I looked into it, and it turned out that they had been divorced for years and stuff, and they were like remarried already. So I can imagine that was given away to a thrift store because who cares? It's like our old wedding video to my ex-husband or my ex-wife or whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But like I thought that there are a lot of people in the crowd, and I thought like some of those people might have, I don't mean to be morbid, but like I was looking at some of those older people, and I was thinking some of those people could have died. Like it was like looking at my grandparents. Like if a video existed, like a home movie or a wedding or something with like my grandparents in it, I would think this might be valuable. Maybe not to the people that were in the wedding that aren't married anymore, but it might be valuable to the relatives of the people that were in the crowd and stuff. So like I'm sort of collecting all that stuff with the intention of giving it to the people that like trying to find the people that would appreciate it and stuff. But at this point, I'm the only one that's appreciating this stuff. But I will eventually get all this stuff to somebody. But and while I was in Salvation Army, they had these two albums, like these photo albums. And okay, this page doesn't have any pictures. Okay, so they were kind of laid out like this, like intentionally opened, so you can see all the pictures and stuff. And so I was like looking through here, and I was thinking there's a lot of pictures and a lot of different people in here. And there are, like in this one especially, there's like some names of people, and then there's like a class picture and it has some names on it, and like an article with somebody's name on it. And I just feel like this has to have some kind of value to somebody out there. I mean, if the person that had all these died, maybe they don't, of course they don't care about this stuff anymore, but and maybe their family thinks, oh, maybe these are like a bunch of, it feels like some of this is like co-workers, like a woman and her co-workers. Like maybe they think, oh, this is like a bunch of people my mom knew in when she was working at so-and-so. Maybe her family doesn't really care about this stuff, but the people that are in the pictures might think, oh my God, so-and-so died, I didn't know she died, and oh, she has pictures of when we went off on that vacation together for work, or like, or, I don't know, I'm just like imagining. There has to be somebody out there that will find some kind of value in this, other than my ass, just like collecting other people's memories and stuff. So I did buy these albums. This one was $4.99 because it has more pictures in it, and this one was only $2.99. But when I got up to the register, the woman said, oh good, I was hoping somebody would notice that there were pictures in that album. So she said that she had left it open so that people knew that there were pictures in it, because she thought, somebody would probably buy it, because of the pictures in it. I don't know if she thought that somebody would buy them to like actually find somebody that would value them and know who the people are, or if she just thought, somebody likes to collect old pictures. Of course, now I'm thinking that's all I'm doing at this point. But I will get these pictures and all the videos and all the stuff that I have that I found at thrift stores to these people eventually. But I found those in Salvation Army. And then I went to Goodwill, and they had a DVD recorder. Speaking of like preserving memories, if you find a DVD recorder in your, unless you have a way to digitize things, like I'm sure there are a lot easier ways to digitize your home movies and all that kind of stuff. But if you only have like an old camcorder kind of thing with like the cords and stuff, and you don't have the way to plug it into your computer, you can get one of those Dazzle things or something. But if you don't have a way to actually digitize them that way, if you see a DVD recorder out there, It's a really valuable tool to be able to, it's like a VCR kind of thing, except you can buy blank DVDs and you put them in there, and then you can plug in your camcorder, you know, using the cords that came with your camcorder, and then you can actually record your videos onto a DVD, and then you could take the DVD and put it in your computer, if you even have like a DVD-ROM drive in your computer, and then you can convert that to a digital file or whatever. That's the way I did it before I got one of those Dazzle things. But I found a DVD recorder in there, and it was $7.99, so I went ahead and got it, and it actually works and everything. You have to make sure that those things work, because like I've said in the video, I bought one of those before in Goodwill, and it didn't work, and so I had to take it back and get the credit or whatever for it. But I found one of those in there. So speaking of preserving memories, you know, that's why I got that. But then they also had this Snow, like I said, my mom loves Snow White, you know, the Disney Snow White, and they had this mural. This, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. This is so huge, but it is so cool. It's 6 feet by 10.5 feet. I mean, I'm sure that this is supposed to go on like the wall of like some, you know, little kid's room or whatever, because it's a wallpaper mural, and so it's massive. But it comes in all these different panels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 panels, and this is how wide they are. So you can imagine like 6 feet long or 6 feet tall or whatever. So it's like each panel is this wide and that tall, and so it's like this big roll, and so you're supposed to put them up on the wall like this, and so like there's one panel, and then you put the next one right next to it, and then the third one on and on and on. And so it's this scene that has Snow White and the prince and the 7 dwarfs, and you know, it's that scene at the end of the movie where she's like waving goodbye to the 7 dwarfs, which I always thought was stupid. That's the only thing I don't like about that movie is like the 7 dwarfs, they're like crying over her. You know, they built her this, you know, beautiful glass coffin that she's like laying in, and you know, they put like diamonds all in it too. And then he comes along, you know, like some necrophiliac or whatever, like, and kisses her, thinking that she's dead. And then she wakes up, and then the first thing she does is like goodbye. Like they stood by her and like, you know, held vigil at her, you know, a dead body or whatever, or presumed dead body in their the glass coffin that they made her. And then she wakes up, and then she's like bye. That's the only thing I hated about that movie. Like, she should have stayed with the 7 dwarfs. You know, he just came along and like kissed her, and then, you know, it was like, oh, they're off into the sunset together. But I felt sorry for the 7 dwarfs. But hopefully they got to move into the castle. I'm just like making up crap. But hopefully, you know, it wasn't a goodbye forever or whatever to the 7 dwarfs. But anyway, so I got that from my mom. I still don't know what I'm going to do with this. But there is some like really hideous wallpaper in my dining room. And my dining room is not really a dining room. It's not like we sit at the table and stuff like some, you know, 50s family or whatever, and sit at our dining room table, and, you know, without the television box or without the boob tube or like whatever you got. It's not like we sit at the dining room table and eat. We sit in the living room and watch TV, and that's where we eat. And so it's not really a traditional dining room. We do have a dining room table, but it's kind of pushed off to the side, and I have some, so it's kind of like our catch-all corner. And it's like basically storage at this point. And then there are some shelves. I want to, there's some shelves of DVDs in there. DVDs that used to be in here where my yarn wall is. And now it's like in my dining room. And so there are some areas where I want to kind of turn that into like a sort of a memory room, and some, I have some shelves of like some collectibles, and like my mom's Snow White stuff, and she's starting to collect those animal figurines and stuff like, because she loves the beginning of the Lion King. And so anytime she sees anything with like an animal from like the beginning of the Lion King, where it's like the parent and a little baby, like she has one that has like the adult elephant and then the baby elephant, or like, you know, giraffes or whatever, like that kind of stuff is going to go in there, and we're going to have all kinds of like shelves and organizing that kind of stuff. And so there is going to be like her Snow White stuff in there too. And I just think that wallpaper is so hideous. I mean, it really is, and it's like coming off in places anyway. I just feel like it would be the perfect opportunity. I mean, this is massive. It's not going to cover the entire room, but like this would be the perfect opportunity to maybe take down part of that wallpaper and like put this up just behind my mom's Snow White stuff. I don't know. I mean, it is so huge though. I mean, of course, you don't need to use the entire thing, I guess, because like this last panel over here is just like a piece of a tree and all that. Like you could, you know, leave that one off over here. I don't know, but it's going to look really nice whatever I do with it in the future. But they had that. And then the last thing, my mom loves violets. It's her favorite flower. And so they had this bowl and cup set. And I guess violets, they're not just purple. They do have some yellow ones and all that. But my mom loves the purple ones. And so it's like this matching set of like a bowl and a little cup to go with it. And I just thought they were really pretty. And so my mom collects all that kind of stuff too that has violets on it because they are her favorite flower. So I got that for her. That was that, you know, jingling on the table the entire video or whatever. But anyway, that's gonna be the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed my rambling ass talking about a whole bunch of random things. I did talk about yarn and crochet, and I did make that cane cover and all that, and I did get some yarn, but all the rest of it was just like completely random stuff. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.